The Pacers finally beat the Knicks in 6 last night. They finished them off. No, I wouldn't say easily, but they finished the game pretty well. They went on a nice run. It just wasn't enough for the Knicks. The bench and the turnovers again burned the team, and it overall led to their demise in this series. The game was close. It was very back and forth until about, I would say, the mid third quarter. And what really changed the game was the threes for the Pacers. The Pacers just started hitting these threes, which they've done all series, and they made a difference. And it just got to the point where the lead started to grow so quickly for the Pacers that it was just starting to get hard for the Knicks to really come back and consistently want to play the brand of ball that they wanted to play, and it just became a little overwhelming. Again, you're in Indiana, that home crowd, the momentum that comes with those big waves of just hitting multiple threes, it can just be a lot to overcome at times. And then all of a sudden you blink and you're down 12. You're down 12 or however many points it was, and it just can be a very overwhelming thing for basketball, again, because the momentum shifts, they change so quickly. Like you maybe just don't use a certain timeout, or you maybe made one bad sub, and all of a sudden things just go and just completely fall off, and you're all of a sudden, like I said, you're down 12. Things just get tough. But I think that was overall the deciding factor, at least scoring wise. That's what really changed the game for me, because there just got to a point where the Knicks, I just didn't think had enough firepower to consistently compete with what Indiana was doing last night. Another thing that really killed the Knicks, and have been talking about this all series. Was the points off turnovers and the bench. These two things, Indiana just does such a better job than New York, and New York has struggled with turnovers really all playoffs. I don't know the numbers for them in the regular season, but in the playoffs, it's something that they've struggled with, and Indiana really capitalized off of it. And specifically in this game 6, when you look at these numbers right here, 13 points off turnovers for the Knicks, 34 points off turnovers for Indy. When you look at the bench, 20 points off the bench for the Knicks, 38 points off the bench for Indy. Again, when you're getting almost another 20 points from the bench, it just takes so much more off of your starters, so much less pressure, a little bit, less fatigue. And then, of course, scoring off of turnovers, that's just, number one, demoralizing for your mental psyche as a team. And number two, you're just kind of giving lobs, like easy passes here and there for the Pacers to just capitalize off of. I mean, again, my brain thinks back to Game 3. I know the Knicks won that game, but for a majority of that third quarter, the Knicks couldn't pass, because every single time they did pass, the Pacers would steal it and just dunk it. They would just dunk it for a fast break. And it's something that's killed them all series, and I was worried with the turnovers. This is kind of a bad matchup for the Knicks, and that's why I had the Pacers in 7. But, hey, that's what happens. That's what this game is all about. It's about exploiting matchups, and the Pacers were just built better for this specific matchup, and New York just didn't have something to solve. And, of course, they just didn't have as many bodies off the bench, and this is something we've talked about with the Knicks now for the last couple years. But, man, it's just something that they're going to have to improve on in the summer. And, again, another reason why I picked the Pacers originally in this series was how deep they are, and it ended up becoming true, because that team, again, as I said in my predictions video, that team is relentless. They have so many bodies they can throw at you. You don't know who's going to drop 20, 25 that night. And it's just really hard to defend that over a 7-game series. For the Knicks starters, I honestly didn't think too many of them did too bad. The only guy I have somewhat of a gripe with is Brunson. I would have liked a little bit more scoring from him. Only 19 points. Not the greatest. But I'll give him, I'm not going to give him a pass. I'm not, because it was a closeout game as well. You gotta fight for another day. But man, Nembhard, who has been having a bad series offensively, did such a good job on Brunson. I can't remember exactly what the numbers were, but there was a point throughout the game where Brunson was 3 for 8 shooting with Nembhard on him. So Nembhard was really making it difficult. He wasn't letting Brunson get to his spots. And, that extra maybe 15, 20 points potentially from Brunson could have been a deciding factor. But again, when one of your main scorers isn't going to be able to get all of his, it's going to be really tough for a team that relies on their starting 5 to have a chance to win the game. And that's what happened. So ton of credit to Nembhard for battling through the series. Again, hasn't been his best, but the ability to at least keep fighting defensively and make it hard on Brunson, that stuff matters. And again, that's another reason why Indiana ended up winning this game. When you look at Indiana in this game, again, I've been saying it already throughout the entire video, and I've talked about this in most of the videos I made about this series or in the preview, but it's really just the scoring. I mean, Siakam, 31 points, Haliburton with 21, 6 rebounds, 13 assists. Obi Toppin had 18. You got 11 points from Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant, I think he played I don't even think he played much in Game 5 or Game 4. Like, when you're getting that much scoring from just everyone, again, I've said it, how many times throughout this video, it's just hard to defend. There's so many guys you got to defend. These guys, they have more guys to score. It's just less fatigue on the overall team. And when I looked at the numbers, you have the Pacers had 7 guys that scored 10 plus points last night. That's just really hard to defend. So it's just really hard to go against that as the Knicks are, especially because the Knicks aren't great defensively. So again, it's just another matchup that played into Indiana's hands, and again, that's another reason why they won last night. Moving forward for the Knicks, I'm curious to see what they do. Again, overall, a lack of bench, a lack also of consistent lineups kind of burnt them. Defense burnt them. And I'm just curious to see how do they go moving forward. They're saying that Tibbs is coming back, so Tibbs is not going to get fired, which I don't think he needed to get fired, to be honest. There's no slouch in making the ECF. But my only question with Tibbs moving forward is Tibbs is such a defensive coach, and we saw that last year with that Knicks team. But the way the Knicks are constructed right now, they are not built for defense. With Cat on the floor and Brunson on the floor, you have 2 guys that you can attack, and those guys are already going to be the majority of the points you're getting on offense. And if those guys are getting gassed on defense, it's just a recipe for disaster. Bridges was not great this series, and he wasn't great this year. You really hope he's going to be able to step up because so far, it's 1 year in, but that trade is not looking good. 5 first-round picks. Yikes. So we got to see what they do. I think they 100% need to address the bench. They need, I would say, another point guard off the bench, a guy that can run the offense, and just guys that can defend and score. I mean, you just need more options. You can't play that starting 5 and burn them out every single game. So I think the Knicks need to address that in the summer. Curious to see what they do. I mean, there's even the potential Giannis rumors, which would be a huge trade. I think Cat or Bridges would have to be involved in that. So we will see, but I'm just curious to see what the Knicks do moving forward. And also forgot to mention, Game 1 is going to haunt the Knicks. I mean, it's just going to haunt the Knicks. Number one, obviously, it was just a historic loss. You're never forgetting about that loss. People are going to remember that game forever. Number 2, if that game didn't go the way it went and you finish it out, number 1, we don't know how this series goes. But right now, if that was the case, it would be 3-3 heading back to New York. That just completely changes things. Now, again, momentum can shift when, let's say, maybe Indiana wins Game 6 and they're going into New York with the momentum. Maybe there's a little bit more pressure on the Knicks, but at the same time, you get a Game 7 to go to the NBA Finals at the Garden. I think that place would have been absolutely jumping, and I think it would have given the Knicks at least a little added boost. I don't know if it would have led them to a win, but that Game 1 is just going to haunt them because when you go down 0-2 in a series, it just makes it so hard. And that's really what it was for the Knicks because, again, if they took that Game 1, we'd have a Game 7. I would have loved that as a viewer, but we didn't get it in another lifetime maybe. But, that Game 1 is just going to forever haunt the New York Knicks. And last, I haven't said it already, but credit to the Pacers for going to the finals. This team, they've just shocked me. They've shocked me this year. Again, I've kept an eye on them heading into the playoffs. They were on a really nice hot streak post All-Star break. They were playing really good basketball, but did I think they could get to this point? Absolutely not. I mean, you have a ECF appearance last year. You did get swept by the Celtics, but also it's the Celtics. They were a really good team. Nothing to really, have your head down about. It is what it is. But to come back this year and beat the Knicks, take those 2 games on the road and to win it in Game 6 at your own building, to go to the NBA Finals the first time in 20, 25 years or whatever it was. Again, ton of credit to the Pacers. No one expected this. I'm just excited to see how they play against OKC and to see how that matchup goes. But I don't want to get too in-depth with that right now just because I will be making a video solely dedicated to that. But I'm just curious to see, and I can't hate on the Pacers at all. They've played phenomenal basketball all year, specifically, again, in these playoffs. They've gone into Cleveland, upset them in 5. You go into New York, upset them in 6. Ton of credit. This team is not scared, and I'm very curious to see how they play on the big stage. That's all I got for you guys on this one. Just a recap of the game. Credit to Indiana. I'm curious to see what the Knicks do moving forward. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like. If you have any thoughts down below on the game, what should the Knicks do moving forward? Do you have any predictions for the finals? Drop them down below. And if you like my type of content, feel free to subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.